All right, today we're diving into a piece of software that tackles a massive challenge for anyone doing super specialized photography. We're talking about a wild combination of robotics, AI, and even a little bit of music tech to capture images with, well, frankly, impossible detail. Let's jump in.
So let's start with a question. How do you actually do it? How do you take a picture of, say, a tiny insect and get every single part of it? I'm talking from the tip of its antenna to the tiniest little hair on its leg, all in razor-sharp focus at the same time.
Well, the short answer is you can't. Not in one shot, anyway. It takes an absolutely insane amount of work. We're talking thousands of individual photos, where each one is focused on just one microscopic slice of the subject. And then, you have to stitch them all together with the kind of precision only a machine can deliver. It is a huge, huge task.
And that task? That's what we're calling the precision photography problem. It's the exact challenge that Leroy Harding's multi-axis controller software was designed to completely solve.
You know, the techniques that rely on this are things like focus stacking. That's how you get that impossible depth of field. And photogrammetry, which is how you build a full 3D model from a bunch of photos. Both of them demand perfect, repeatable precision, moving a camera by just a few micrometers at a time, something no human hand could ever do reliably. So how in the world does this software pull off that kind of superhuman precision? Well, the answer is actually in a brilliantly simple and really cost-effective hardware trick at its very core. Okay, here it is. This is the big idea. Instead of relying on one super expensive, custom-built controller, the software actually uses two standard, off-the-shelf 3D printer motherboards. It gets them to work together in perfect sync, essentially turning cheap, everyday components into an incredibly powerful and precise motion system. And this is why it works so well. They divide up the work. Think about it. Controller number one is totally dedicated to moving the subject. It handles all the complex stuff, like moving side to side, up and down, and all the rotations. The second controller, it has just one job: move the camera forward and backward. That separation is genius because it prevents any instability and guarantees rock-solid precision. So to put it really simply, controller one is the choreographer, right? It's handling all the fancy object movements, the stacking, the grid, the tilting. Meanwhile, controller two is just the steady hand, focused only on that critical camera movement. It's such an elegant way to make sure every single shot is perfectly, and I mean perfectly, aligned. Okay, so we've got this incredibly powerful robotic system. That's great, but how do you control it without needing a PhD in robotics? Well, that's where the software's brilliant co-pilots come into play. First up is the AI co-pilot. Now, instead of messing around with dozens of complicated settings and numbers, you can just tell it what you want in plain English. You can literally say something just like this, and it understands. This is a total game changer for just getting the job done. And the whole process is just so simple. You give it that simple command, the AI instantly figures out what you mean and fills in all the specific complex settings for you. Then it generates the flawless machine instructions, the G-code, that tells the hardware exactly what to do step by step. It's the perfect bridge between a human idea and machine execution.
But what if you want to get your hands dirty? You know, have that tactile, physical control. For that, the software has another co-pilot, and it uses something you might have seen in a music studio, a MIDI controller. It's basically just a physical box with a bunch of knobs, sliders, and buttons that lets you control software by feel.
And the MIDI support here is seriously deep. You can map any function in the software to any button on your controller. You can assign a physical knob to an axis, letting you nudge your subject or camera into the perfect position in real time just by feel, without even looking at your monitor. And you get this great visual feedback on the screen where the digital knobs move right along with your physical ones. But this whole system isn't just for taking pictures of things sitting still in a neat little grid. It opens up a whole new universe of creative freedom. And that's done with something called waypoint programming. So instead of being stuck in a grid, you can create a totally custom motion path. It's like plotting points on a map. You say, go here, then move over to here, then do a nice sweep around to this final point. It's perfect for things that aren't square, or for creating those beautiful, smooth camera moves you see in high-end commercials. The software gives you these amazing visual tools to manage it all. For example, this grid preview isn't just a static picture of your plan. It's interactive. You can click on any one of those squares, and the actual physical rig will instantly move to that exact spot so you can check your framing. You can even click squares off if you don't want to photograph that part of an object. It's just incredible. And you can take this creative control to the absolute limit. Imagine programming one of those complex waypoint paths, but then telling the camera to execute it with microscopic precision over hours or even days. This is how you create those mind-blowing motion time-lapses, like watching a flower bloom in 3D, or an object slowly decaying from every possible angle.
So, when you start to put all of these pieces together, the dual controllers, the AI, the amazing MIDI control, the creative programming, you realize you have something that's way more than just a piece of utility software.
I think this line from the creator just nails it. It's not a tool, it's a complete command center. It gives a photographer or a scientist total, fine-grained control over every single aspect of a really complex imaging process.
So let's just run through it one last time. You've got the dual controller support for that unshakable stability. You've got AI that makes setting up a job almost effortless. You've got deep MIDI mapping for that essential hands-on control. Custom waypoints for total creative freedom. Motion time-lapse for those epic long-form projects. Plus a whole suite of other pro-level tools. It's a seriously complete package.